am the supervisor of Parent and Family Engagement for Hillsborough County Public Schools Title I office. Today's presentation, I'm so excited, is about taking the stress out of spring break at the library. So today we have our very own John Milborn from Hillsborough County Public Schools Media Library Specialist. He's a supervisor, and also we're excited to have with us Julie Cole from myON. So with that, we have a chat room. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and ask their questions. We will field questions throughout the evening while the presentation is going on, but sit back, relax, and enjoy the presentation. I'm going to turn it over to John. Welcome, John.
Good evening. We're all good? Everybody can hear me? We are ready to go. Taking the stress out of spring break at the library. Now, you know, it's spring break. It shouldn't be stressful, right? It's time to relax and recharge and get yourself going for the last couple months of the school year. But anytime there are extended times off, winter break, spring break, summer break is just a couple months away, right around the corner. It's important to keep our students and our kids engaged and learning. And you can do that lots of different ways, going places and experiences and things like that. But certainly reading is probably one of the most important ways to keep that learning and extend that achievement. And so that's what we're going to talk about, is some opportunities while you're on break to find things to read, whether it's digitally or even going to the library and checking things out. That's what we're going to talk about. So I am ready to go. And in just a little bit, I'll introduce Julie Cole from myON, and she's going to be talking about myON tonight. So let's get started. So that is me right there. Also, helping put this together is Kimberly DeFusco, who supervises our middle and high school libraries, and then Julie Cole with our Read on myON partnership. I'm going to start by giving you kind of an overview of what we have to offer here in Hillsborough County. We have some virtual library pages that have lots of resources and places for you to find reading. And that's what I'm going to do first. We're going to talk through some of that. And then I'm going to pass the baton off to Julie, and she's going to dive a little bit deeper into myON and show you all of the incredible things that are going on in there. So that's kind of our agenda there. So, at Hillsborough County Public Schools, we have some virtual libraries. We have one for elementary, one for middle, and one for high schools. And these are just exactly what they say. They're libraries, but they're libraries of digital resources. And there are different ways you can find these libraries, and you see that on the screen there. You can go to, if you're used to using your school's website, there's a way to get to our virtual libraries from that. If you know how to get to the district web page, there's a real easy way to find us there. And then if you want, there's simply the website that you can use, bit.ly/HCPS Library. And I'm going to show you in just a minute all those different ways to get to these pages. I want to show you as many ways as you can, because maybe you'll remember one of them, if not all three of them. When you're there, and we're going to go to them in just a minute, you'll find lots of resources. Now, tonight we're going to be mainly talking about reading and places to get digital books and eBooks and things like that so that we can keep our kids reading over break. But just so you know, there are other resources on these pages as well. There are databases and electronic encyclopedias and electronic newspapers and lots of other things that our students can access when they are researching and doing their schoolwork and just trying to find stuff out. I know that when I was a kid, we had a set of World Book encyclopedias. I can see them sitting on the shelf. And I was the kind of kid that every now and then just liked to pull one down and flip through and read about things that I was interested in. And you can still do that with the World Book Online. You can log in and search and read, and there's video and pictures and all kinds of things. So that's there. That's not what we're going to focus on tonight, but I want everybody to know that that's there. And the passwords for using a lot of those resources is right here, HCPSFL, pretty much for anything on that page. So we're going to be talking about mainly reading resources tonight. And I'm going to go off to our virtual library page here in just a minute. And Cybercat that you see there at the top is actually our library catalog. And you can go on there and search for books. You can find them in your school's library, or you might find some digital books that you can link to. And then we have two of our main ebook or digital book platforms, Access 360 and myON. And in just a minute, when I go to the virtual library, I'm going to dive into Access 360 and show you how to log into that and kind of let you look at it and see the books that are there and show you how you would check those out. And then when I'm done with my portion, Julie is going to talk more extensively about myON. So I am going to share my screen. Okay, hopefully everybody can see that. And first I'm going to show you, remember I told you there were 3 different ways that you could find our virtual libraries. So I'm going to show you each of those ways. First of all is from your school's webpage. So I'm at Stowers Elementary's webpage. And if I go to Resources, I will see a drop down, and one of the choices is Media Center. And that will take you to the Stowers Elementary Media Center page. And there is a link there to the elementary school virtual library. There's a lot of other things going on there. There's even a myON link down there. But you can click on that virtual library link, and it will take you to the elementary. In this case, I'm on the, you can do this for middle or high school as well. In this case, I'm on an elementary web page. Takes you to the elementary virtual library. So that's one way. Another way, remember I said, is if you're used to finding the Hillsborough District website, there's an easy way to get to us. So here I am. I'm at the Hillsborough County Public Schools webpage. There's a search box up here in the right-hand side. I'm going to click in it, and I'm going to type go space library. Go library. And that's what we're going to do. And that will take you to our Library Media webpage. And there's some green buttons. And depending on what level you are interested in, there are virtual libraries for elementary, middle, and high school. And so I'm going to click the elementary one, like just to show you it's the same place that we just were. So there it is again. So that's the second way you can get there. And then finally, remember there's a URL, bit.ly.com/HCPS Library. And that will take you straight to that same page. And there's elementary again. I'll click on the middle school this time just so you can see that there's one for that level as well. So this is the middle school Library Media virtual web page. All right. So 3 different ways to get there. Now I'm going to go back into the elementary one. And on all of these pages, elementary, middle, and high school, just like I said, there are lots of resources for learning and research. And you see here a World Book Online and a database called Kids Infobits. When you get to middle and high school, there's lots of very extensive databases. Great place to go when your kids are doing reports and doing research. It's vetted. It is electronic resources that are intended to be used for academics, for kids in school. And so you can find lots of great things on Google. You can find lots of other things that aren't so great on Google. So why not start with a resource that you can trust and know that's going to give you good information for students. And so that's what we've curated here. So, but that's not our purpose tonight. Remember, our purpose tonight is to talk about reading over break. On the right side, there's our catalog. There's a myON link, which is coming just a few minutes. And then here's a library called Access 360. And I'm going to click on that. And what you're going to see is a collection of eBooks. So you know how you go to a library and you walk in and you walk around and you search the shelves. Maybe you search a catalog and you find the book you want. You go to the shelf, you get it off, you take it to the desk, you check it out, right? That's how a library works. So this is an electronic library. So these books are on shelves. You'll see in just a minute. They're on shelves on the computer, and you can browse them. You can search for particular books of authors or titles, and you can check them out. And then if you have it, it works best. It works on the computer, but there's an app, an Access 360 app that you can download, and you can go on there and find your book and download it and read it right on your phone. So it makes just for a great place to go, easy, anytime, anywhere. And then these books check themselves back in, just like you go to the library and you return your book. You don't have to go anywhere to return these books. In a couple weeks, they will just turn themselves back in, and then you can check out again. So I'm going to select a school. So what you would do is you would select a school. So I'm just going to select the top one there, Alphi Elementary. I'm going to uncheck this just so that that doesn't remember Alphi forever on my computer. I'm going to click Select Library. And here we are. We are in the Access 360 ebook library. And there's the shelves. And there are the books. There are some groupings. You have books that are featured. You have fiction books, nonfiction books, just all different kinds. And you can browse, but most of the time, kids kind of know what they want. And they might want books about space or cars or sports, or they might have a favorite author or a favorite series. So I'm going to go up here. You can do a search. And there's a real popular elementary kids author named Dan Gutman. And he writes a lot of different series that are fun. And so let's say I like Dan Gutman, so I'm just going to put his name, Gutman, and I'm going to do a search. And these are all books by Dan Gutman. And so he's got different series. He's got some of the baseball. He's got a baseball card adventure series that's on here. And then as you're looking here, notice up in the corner some of these little symbols. You'll see a little book, or you'll see a little headphone. So the book is a book, go figure, and the headphone is an audiobook. So if it's an audiobook, you click it, you check it out, you download it to your phone or the device that you are using, and then you can actually listen to the book read aloud. It's just an audiobook. Otherwise, it is a book that you will read on your device. And I don't see, it looks like all of these are in. We'll try to find one that's out. The color of this little circle in the book changes to let you know when that book is checked out. It's kind of grayed out. So if you see a book and it's kind of grayed out, we have that book, but somebody else has it. So, but as long as they're not grayed out, you can check it out. So I'm going to look at Roberto and me here. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click Checkout. So this is as far as I'm going to go on this demonstration, but this is where you would put in the student's student number. It says library card ID, but that is simply their student number, their lunch number. Some people might know it as their lunch number. And you type that in and you click Login, and you're able to check it out and download that book. You can make a wish list. So let's say that book was checked out. but I really want it when it comes back in, you can make a wish list and kind of keep things. Or you can, maybe you're just browsing one day and you don't have time to check out, but you're going to like, ooh, I want that, and I want that, and I want that. And you can make a wish list. So I'm going to go back. So here's an example. I wanted to show this. This book is already checked out. So do you notice how the symbol is gray and these are dark gray or blue? So that means this book is checked out. We have it in the library, but it's checked out. Okay? So these are wonderful books. We curate this collection to be books that the kids love to read. That's the purpose of this library, is recreational pleasure reading. And so this is a great place to go for spring break, to find books to check out and, take with you. You could check out a couple on the app on your phone, and then if you're traveling somewhere over spring break, you've got them with you. If you check out, and I've done this on a trip, I'll go find an audiobook I want to listen to. I check it out, I download it, and then you can plug that in your phone or your Bluetooth in your car and listen to your audiobook while you're on a trip as well. So lots of great things that you can use during break for reading. All right. Now I am going to go back to our presentation. Here we are. All right. And I'm going to talk about one more thing before I pass it off to Julie, and she's going to tell us about myON. About almost 2 years ago, we started a partnership with the public library here in town called HAAL Pass, Hillsborough All Access Libraries. And it kind of sounds like it's complicated, but it's really very simple. We have shared our data with the public library, just a limited amount of it, so that every student in Hillsborough County Public Schools can use their student number, or that lunch number. You parents know what that student number is, I'm sure. That becomes a public library card. And it would be great to go to the public library and apply and get a public library card. You can still do that, and that has a lot more privileges. But with HAAL Pass, every student in Hillsborough County Public Schools now automatically has a public library card, and I'm going to show you some of the things and benefits and some of the resources that they have that you can take advantage of with that. So just some specifics, first of all, about it. It's all Hillsborough County Public School students, kindergarten through 12th grade, including charter school students, have a HAAL Pass, or basically your student number will work as a public library card. It's a public library account where it uses their ID. And here are some of the things you can and can't do. I'm going to show you some electronic resources that you can access with your student number, but you can also walk into your local branch of the public library and just with your student number, check out up to 3 items. Books, audiobooks, magazines, videos. I don't know if you've been into a public library recently, but what they have and the variety and the choice of things that you can check out is amazing. And you can, with your student number, check out up to 3 of those items. And so that's another advantage for spring break. If you haven't taken the time to get a public library card, but you want to go down and check out some books, you just use their student number and they can get 3 books for the spring break. There are no fines, so we're not going to, you check out those 3 books. All the public library really worries about is that you bring them back. They want you to keep coming back and getting more books, and so there's not going to be any fines attached to it. There's no application because you're a public school student, your number is automatically a library card. And there's no physical card. I know that some people have been confused by the name because it says Pass, and they think, well, I would like my HAAL Pass, and you have it. Everybody has it. You don't need an actual card or anything. You just need that number. Do know that if you go into the public library, they can't help you if your student has forgotten their student number, or maybe you're new to the community and they haven't memorized it well yet. They don't have access to look those things up. You'd have to go back to the school, to verify what the student's number is. You can't do holds with the student number. The public library has a catalog where you can go in and search for books, and you can put holds on them, and then they'll send them to a branch near you to pick up. You can't do that with a student number. You would need to get a full-fledged library card, which we encourage you to go in and do. And they check out DVDs and movies and things, and just know that they do not check out R-rated movies to children using the HAAL Pass. When we go to the electronic resources in just a minute, and you have to log in, you put your student ID in, and then it asks for a PIN. And every student's PIN, you'll see down there in red, is the default PIN is 4321. You actually can change that. I wouldn't recommend that you would, because the people helping you at the public library know that's the default PIN. So as long as you know the student number, they can help you log in. So what can you discover? Let's look at just a few things that are offered. eBooks again. I just showed you some eBooks from Access 360. There's some other options here we'll look at in just a minute. A lot more audiobook options, magazines, music. There's just all kinds of things available at the public library. Some things that might be of interest to students. We're just talking about reading, but know that there is homework help. There are some more research databases and things, help with science, STEM fair projects, and there's a Mango Languages program. If you're wanting to learn a new language, that's a great program. So let me real quick. Where did my sharing screen go? There it is. Let me show you some of those resources. This is information about HAAL Pass. You can link to this from the public library site to find out more about it. There's a little promotional video. Then what I've got here is the public library's webpage, hcplc.org. This is a great place to go. Again, there are so many things going on, even beyond just stuff that you can check out, programs and things like that. But I want to look up here where it says books and more. Right? We're talking about reading resources. And I want to look in eBooks. They have some collections here, general collections, Overdrive, Hoopla, and RB Digital. And these are going to be more for teenagers and adults. So if you've got some teenagers, Overdrive and Hoopla, it's going to have some books and movies and things that might be of interest to them. And again, they can use their student number to check them out. For elementary students, there's Access 360. We actually kind of share that collection. Between the two of us, we see their Access 360 ebooks in our collections at our schools. There's a link to myON that we're going to hear about in just a minute. Then they have another ebook library for elementary students called the Tumble Book Library, and it's got some great things for kindergarten through 6th grade students. And again, these are electronic versions of these books. When you click on one, you will be asked. When you click on it to read it, you will be asked somewhere. Oh, it wants me to. I'm gonna go off of that. You'll be asked to log in, and so that's where HAAL Pass comes into play. And all you have to do is put in that student number, and then you can log into that resource. So Tumble Books was a great one as well. They have audiobooks. That was the other thing I was going to point out, is through these resources, Overdrive and Hoopla, there are even more audiobooks than what's in Access 360. So that's another place that you might find something if you're going on a trip or something like that. And there's just so much here. I'm not going to, again, my purpose isn't to go through everything that's at the public library, but know that the power of HAAL Pass enables your student with their student number, their lunch number, to access a wealth of resources at the public library. They have a public library card, and they can use it here online, or they can go into the public library and check out up to 3 things. So just be aware of HAAL Pass. It's a wonderful, wonderful partnership. Okay, and I'm going to return. Oh, I'm going to return here. And I'm going to stop sharing. All right. So, the second part of our presentation, I am going to turn over to Julie Cole. Julie Cole works with myON and the myON partnership, and she is local. She's a parent of students in Hillsborough County Public Schools as well, and myON is just a wonderful, wonderful resource. Hopefully most of you have heard something about it or about that fantastic resource and what a help it can be for reading during break times.
Hi, this is Julie Cole, and I'm excited to share with you about myON Reader and some different ways you can have your students reading over summer break and spring break and any downtime with fun materials that are online. So why is reading so important? We talk a lot about the importance of reading. One of the main reasons is that as we become readers, we're learning to read up until about 3rd grade. And then after 3rd grade, we're reading to learn. So reading is so important. And the more we read, the better readers we become. That's where myON fits in. So myON is an online library of digital books. Over 6,000 are in the myON library, and they're personalized for your students. myON has different reading scaffolds that we'll talk about, and you can also use myON on your iPads. There's an offline reading option, and you can even read, write, and journal in myON now. So let's talk about the mobile devices. You can download the myON app on your tablets. There's one for the iPad, the Android, Chrome, and Kindle Fire. I want to caution you on the app. When you use the app, you certainly can download 20 books at a time, and it's a wonderful resource when you don't have Wi-Fi available. So say you're going on a road trip over spring break. This would be a great opportunity to use the myON app and offload 20 titles so that your student can read the entire trip. But if you do have Wi-Fi access, go ahead and open myON on your browser or on Safari on your tablet. That way, your student will always have access to that entire library of books. If you need help with any of the apps, you can always contact support@myon.com. How does myON work? Many of us have seen our kids reading on myON over the years, but how does it know what our kids love to read? So when your student first logged into myON, they received what was called an interest inventory. So this is kind of like a Netflix approach. We want to get to know your reader better. So of course, we want to learn what they like to read about. The next thing they're given is a short placement exam. This lets us know what reading level they're reading at. We take those two items, marry them together, and then myON is able to make recommendations for your student for books that they'll likely enjoy reading and are at their just right reading level as well. You can see from this slide that there are two different interfaces, and those are actually by grade. So the younger interface is our younger students in elementary school, and in our 5th grade and up students, you'll see the interface on the right looks a little bit more mature and is just more appealing to our older students. There's 3 ways to find books in myON. The first one is what we just talked about, those books that are recommended by myON. Second, your teachers of your students might have assigned a book or a project to your student, and those will be right there on the dashboard as soon as your student logs in. When we go live, I'll show you where those are at. And then the final way is to search or browse in the library. And you can get to all of those at the very top of the myON interface. With that search or that browse, you can also add books, kind of like your favorites, to your My List. And browsing is just browsing by category. It takes you in through pictures, and you can go deeper into each category. Our recommendation engine. So let me tell you a little bit about that recommendation engine. It's based on those student interest, but then it's based on your reading level and the grade appropriateness. So we want to make sure your students are reading books that they're interested in, but that are also appropriate for them. There are multiple bands that appeal to your student's choice, so we're giving them different areas that they might enjoy reading books in. Reading a book. Reading a book in myON is the same for every single book that your student opens, so it's super easy for them to become familiar with reading a book in myON. These are some of the reading tools that I was talking about. So not only can your student read in myON, but they can use these different tools, and a lot of them are used during the school year. So as your students are working maybe in a project assigned by a teacher, they can use highlighter, drawing tools. They can even journal right there in their account in myON. At the end of reading their book, when they've completed that book, they have the ability to rate the title and to write a review. And those reviews are first shown to the teacher and approved by the teacher, but then their fellow classmates can see those reviews to decide sometimes if they're interested in reading a book. Then we have a short book quiz, and that's simply to see their engagement and comprehension of the content of the book. So then there's measuring reading growth in myON, and every once in a while, your student will come across a purple envelope in their account in the top left-hand corner, and that's just a short benchmark that we use to reassess as your student grows. So myON's been in Hillsborough County for 8 years now, and we have kindergarten students, actually 8th grade students, that began reading in myON when they were kindergartners. So in order to keep up with their reading level, we do these short benchmarks, and that just reassesses and redetermines the reading level that they're at. As parents, you can see each of the benchmarks that your students have taken, as well as what they're reading. And it's a great opportunity to have a conversation with your child about what they're reading, about some of their likes and dislikes, and actually see their reading growth in myON as well. Book collections. So myON has provided access for children in homes that might not have a lot of books in their homes. And with this collection of books, all students now have over 6,000 books available to them. This is just a little bit of an overview of what that collection looks like. 70% of the books in myON are nonfiction. There's reading levels for pre-K through grade 12. 10% of the collection is bilingual and Spanish titles. And there's also a growing list of publishers that some of those I'm going to highlight at the end of this. You can see the different publishers here. Disney is one of our top books always. Over the past 8 years, there's always a great Disney book that is at the top of the list. And now I'm so excited. We have recently added the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, titles 1 through 11, to all of our myON users in Hillsborough County. This is forever a student favorite, and now all of our students have a copy of each of these books through their myON account. So now I'm going to take you out really quick and show you a login. Okay, we are live, about to log into myON, and when your student comes to log in, they'll simply type their school name, and as you begin typing, it will pull up that site. So say your student was in Walden Lake, they'd be able to start typing in Walden, and up it would come. So you would type your own student's specific school site, and I'm going to go ahead and log in to my account. And as you can see, my username is Mom. I have 2 students here in Hillsborough County that love reading in myON as well. So when your student logs in, you're going to see the last book that they opened, as well as a little bit about the reading that they've done. They have a reading goal for that week, and you can see how much time they've spent reading, if they've finished any book, and how many pages they've read this week as well. If you want to note at the very top, you can see your student's Lexile score right there as well. And just down below, you'll see any projects that a teacher might have assigned that your student is reading in, and they can actually click on the blue pencil, and that will take them immediately into that project. So if we scroll down a little bit more, this is where that Netflix type recommendation happens. Because I was reading Superpower Pony, I was recommended these other 4 books. But then if we scroll down, we'll see other recommendations and then my recently opened books. If we were to click on the See More in this recommended for you, your student will receive additional recommendations. And again, these are based on their interest and their reading level. I want to show you here as well. If we click on your student's name, you're going to be able to see more about what they've been reading and the activity that they've been doing in myON. So if we were to click on this profile button, it will actually take you to an infographic of what your student has recently been reading and a little bit about some of their reading statistics. So you can see if they've been reading more nonfiction or fiction and some of the recent books that they've enjoyed reading as well. These can be printed and you could share those with another family member, a grandparent, put it on your refrigerator to highlight. If we go back to the student activity, you can actually click on this activity button and you can see all of the books that your student has recently read, as well as their current Lexile. And one more place, if we click right here on Lexile, you can see your student's Lexile growth. As your student takes those benchmarks tests, this is where you'd go to have a conversation with your student about their reading growth. This is the purple envelope that they can select as well for that updated benchmark. And if you click on Library, this is where we'll search and browse for books. So anything that I've chosen to put to my list as a favorite would be right here. If I want to search for a specific title, I can do that right here. So say we search for Diary of a Wimpy Kid. That leads me to show you this filter. So say we want to find those Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Well, we know that the Diary of a Wimpy Kid is a title. So I'm going to click on title. We can click title or series, and I'm going to hit search again. Oh no, hold on. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to waste your time. We'll go ahead and go into our browse. And this is where we can dive deeper into those different areas to find, say we wanted to find a chapter book. That will pull up our chapter books. Okay, I am going to return. Okay, so how does myON help your child? First and foremost, it provides access to a collection of books digitally that your student has 24/7 access to. It does that by their interest as well as their reading level to personalize their reading experience. And it also monitors and measures their reading growth and forecasts future reading ability. myON is a wonderful tool to help your child become engaged and excited about reading and to grow in their reading as well. I want to point out our community website. It's www.readonmyon.com. If you have younger children at home that aren't in school yet, they can register for a login and password to read on to go ahead and read themselves on myON. If they simply come to this website and click on the register now, just a few short questions, and they'll have that login and password and their own account. On this website, we also have information on any reading promotions that might be going on. Right now, we're doing a really exciting promotion with the NCAA in the Final Four. And we also have done an African American digital read-in this past month. So you can go to this website and find parent materials, reading challenges, what's going on. I highly recommend it. How do you get started? We just showed you how to log in for your student, but more importantly, reading to your child, reading with your child, and having your child read to you. Those are very key in that reading experience and being involved in their reading. So stay connected, follow us. We have fun posts. You can see the challenges that are going on and all the neat stuff that's happening here in reading in Hillsborough County through myON. Questions, we have a customer support line. This information will get you to someone that will help you with any problems you might be experiencing. And thank you. I hope your family enjoys reading on myON. I'm going to pass it back over to John to finish out this session.
Okay, thank you, Julie. So you can see we have some wonderful reading resources. Of course, you can use them over break, but these resources are available to our students all the time. And so it was a pleasure to share some of these. If you have questions in the future, there's some information there. Email addresses for myself and elementary, and Kim DeFusco, who supervises middle and high school libraries. And our K-12 schools, go visit the Library Media Center. Go meet your library media specialist. They can help you with a lot of these resources and a whole lot more. They are there to keep your kids excited and motivated and make them lifelong readers. So thank you for this opportunity, and we hope you have a great break and come back ready, rested, and ready to finish out the year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John and Julie, for that great presentation. I hope your students are all ready for spring break. They have a lot of resources to make sure that reading, that brain is moving forward. I do want to make a couple of announcements before you hang up or disconnect to the webinar. We do have coming up on April 4th. It is a live presentation at Chamberlain High School on April 4th. The NOPE, drug prevention education. So it'll give parents awareness of what's happening with their students, the look-fors that's happening with a lot of students around the nation. And so just to be knowledgeable about look-fors for your students is going to be great. So please come out. It's going to be at Chamberlain High School in the auditorium. And the next webinar is helping your child advance. And so That's all about after graduation, what happens? What if my child does not want to go to college? Hillsborough County has a lot of certifications and post-education opportunities that some are free. So join in on April 11th. It's also from 6 to 7. That's the link at interact.myhdhc.org/English, and it's 104. So we look forward to seeing you at that webinar. And again, thank you all for being with us today. Have a great evening.